It's now time for Trivia Tracks with yours truly, Price Robertson. This edition of Trivia Tracks is brought to you by ProMed Ambulance Services, care you can count on, and Beth Smith at Edward Jones. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC. The name Glen Sherley isn't that widely known, but one song that he wrote was made famous by Johnny Cash in 1968. Born March 9, 1936 in Oklahoma, Glen Milborn Sherley was the son of farm workers who migrated to California in the 1940s to work in cotton fields, potato farms, and more. Sherley was a youth offender, and throughout the 1950s and 60s was frequently in and out of prison for various crimes, including one jailbreak. By the time he was discovered by Johnny Cash in 1968, while serving time for armed robbery, Sherley had been an inmate of several state penitentiaries, including Chino, Soledad, San Quentin, and Folsom. In the late 60s, Sherley wrote and recorded Greystone Chapel, in reference to the chapel within Folsom Prison, where he was an inmate at the time. On January 12, 1968, a copy of this recording made its way into the hands of Johnny Cash, by way of a minister who was a friend of Cash's. The night before, he was due to appear in concert at Folsom. Greystone Chapel was recorded along with the rest of Cash's Folsom performance on January 13, 1968. After being transferred to Vacaville, Sherley worked in the prison hospital unit, where he met Western swing legend Spade Cooley, who was serving a life sentence for murder until his death in 1969 while on a 72-hour leave from prison. Cooley was known to be a positive influence on Sherley, who was able to refine his music abilities as well as his abilities to deal with his audience. Sherley's next major success came in 1971, when Eddie Arnold recorded another song written by Sherley, Portrait of My Woman. The song became the title track of Arnold's next release. Sherley was then offered the chance to record a self-titled live album while still in prison. When Sherley was finally released in March of 1971, he was met at the gates by Johnny Cash, who offered him a job at his publishing organization, House of Cash. He also went on the road with Cash, reconnected with his kids, and eventually remarried. However, problems soon interfered. According to Marshall Grant, Cash's longtime bassist and road manager, Sherley exhibited behavior that clearly indicated he was a pathological criminal. He casually made comments about killing members of Cash's entourage, and made threats. In one instance, he threatened Grant with a knife, which proved to be the last straw. Cash himself became concerned about Sherley's passion for violence and eventually dismissed him. Sherley became estranged from his wife and kids and quickly faded from the limelight. Drifting from one town after another, he wound up feeding cattle at a local stockyard. In May 1978, while high on drugs, Glen Sherley shot a man. Sometime after that, he called his daughter to say he wasn't going to return to jail. 2 days later, on May 11th, while hiding out in his brother's house in Gonzales, California, the 42-year-old Sherley put a gun to his head and pulled the trigger. Johnny Cash agreed to pay for his funeral. Till next time, I'm Price Robertson. Amazed by today's trivia? Then join me for Trivia Tracks weekdays at 6:45 on Everybody's Country Y95.